truth of tariffs as they really are. Donald J. Trump's over and over and over messaging. The Canadians refuse to hear. My politician says it's going to be like this because my politician says, oh, Donald J. Trump is negotiating like this because he wants this agreement. Folks, link of this title, USMCA, Canada, Mexico, US. If it's Canada, it's CUSMA. If it's Mexico, it's MUSCA. Doesn't matter what you call it. The reality is it's one treaty agreement that is not open to even look at for 17 months. 17 months. Do you know, Canadians, that you alone in this world with the United States of America absolutely have more agreements, more treaties than any other country in the world? In fact, you rival every other country in the world. There is nobody with as many agreements or treaties in place with the United States of America. Now, people are coming on. This is a major video that must be shared. Undeniable, can't be myth busted, can't be argued, and your lame duck, dirty, filthy, corrupt politicians, NDP, Bloc, Green, Liberal, Conservative, these majorities, especially the last two, who are lying at an unprecedented rate to all of you who can't see past their own nose because you're institutionalized not to. USMCA is not even open to even talk about for 17 months. But is it the only treaty that USA and Canada have? No. You have mass amounts. From before Canada was even a country to well past Canada's time, 1931 onward. And you can argue, well, UK made all these agreements up to 52, and no problem, I know them all. You know why? Because unlike most people, a large mass percentile of Canadians have read every single one. Not only all of Canada USA's, but all of USA UK's. All of them. Everything applicable to us. Do you know what you find when you do that? A compliancy that's easily pulled from Statistics Canada or American Government Statistics USA. You can pull them and you can see who's honored what, who's in what's called compliancy. USA checkmark, 100% funded and compliant. Over and over in dozens and dozens of treaties with Canada. Not USMCA, not open for negotiation. But now that we bring it up, how is Canada compliant with USMCA? Last time books opened, just recently, like last month, Canada's 32% compliant with a treaty more than 5 years signed, certified, sealed, and put to bed. Still not compliant. But let's pull out some other ones where you, Canada, have serious financial obligation, that you agreed to do a contract. You know, you go buy a car, you have to sign a contract. You go buy a house, you sign a mortgage, and on and on and on. Well, Canada has a whole bunch of these agreements. Many, many agreements with the United States. Some carry over for long, long times past before Canada's country. But USA, check mark, 100% compliant. Canada, 41, 38, 52, 61 that I've read. That's the highest I've seen in compliancy, where USA check marks 100%, Canada's highest effectual contract, 61%. You know where that comes from, folks? NATO, 2% commitment. And if you go past certain years like Stephen Harper, 2015, who ratified the 2% from 4%, when you go all the way back to 1960, Canada non-compliant all the way through at tremendous rates, declining year after year. NORAD, same thing, non-compliant, massive rate, effectually down at 38%. We can go on and on. Do you know we have a drug system since 76? Yeah, we have a US-Canada treaty on drugs, especially dangerous drugs, that apparently we threw away everything we signed on since 76, slowly eroding, like every other agreement we have. USA, you pull these out, and USA's like, okay, we fund this in compliancy to this much of American might of the taxpayer, the American corporations we have registered, wherever they are in the world, they've got to pay. They pay tremendously more than any Canadian corporations. Americans maybe not per capita as much as Canadians, obviously not in taxation, but Canada's transitioned away from all of their American commitments, all of them, entirely, dozens and dozens. You start adding them up to get to Donald J. Trump's numbers, folks. You're way over $200 billion. Over 1/3 of our economy. But yet we have the money for all these other agreements, not treaties, agreements with other nations who don't reciprocate anything, because there's no treaty there with them to fund us in the same reciprocity. So they liquidate us, at least we're paying out, we're obligated, our politicians borrow against us, tax us to death, to honor those agreements, not treaties, while there's no treaty in place on the other side to reciprocate anything. And we're short tremendous amounts of money. Is it enough to make up the over $200 billion a year that we're not reciprocating in full agreement with the United States, who's our number one trading partner? Because why? We have the most treaties of any other nation with the United States of America, hence why we're their largest trading partner, but yet we are non-compliant in almost every single one of them. Non-compliant. And it goes beyond a little bit. Most of them are well under 50%. Well under. On average, it's probably somewhere around 42% compliant. Now, USA's stuck in USMCA. Donald Trump isn't negotiating with Doug Ford or Mark Carney, or any of his ministry that he's inherited, or Doug Ford's provincial side, or any other premier's provincial side in trade. No, they're not. Now, Doug Ford's going to go on. Sure, he's going to go on. He's going to go on and talk to Donald J. Trump. He let go of the 25% tariffs on energy exports to 3 American states, Democrat states, in fact. And Donald J. Trump said, okay, we're not going to make it 50% on steel. It's still going to be 25% across the board. And we're still instituting 25% tariffs and reciprocity on April 2nd, way outside the scope of USMCA. Why? Because USMCA can't even be looked at till 2026. Doug Ford is going with literally his own feces in his hand on USMCA. Are you daft? Incompetent? Can you read? Can you even Listen to what the President of the United States has told you on multiple publications, if you even wanted to hear. Now, journalism isn't journalism of even the 60s anymore. It's journalism of opinion now, largely transitioned from the 80s to the 90s, especially here in Canada. We're not even in that realm anymore. It's government propaganda news. It's always been that way since at least I was an adult, all the way through my life. Folks, Doug Ford is going to get his ass handed to him, as is the federal government, on nothing to do with their CUSMA, USMCA, or MUSCA. Nothing to do with any of it. Nothing to do with any of it because it's not there. But all these other treaties are that even Mexico doesn't have with US. Mexico doesn't even have even a third of those treaties that Canada has. And when you add them all up, and you're sitting across the President of the United States and says, listen, I'm not even going to talk about how much you've cheated America out of all of these decades, and we can go back some mighty decades. He told you yesterday, right outside in the White House parking lot with Elon Musk, some guy drew a line with a ruler. He doesn't even acknowledge Upper and Lower Canada or any of the Atlantic, and I have a major presentation coming. I'm not finished yet, and I don't want to mess it up. I want it to be perfect and beautiful, best one ever. But he doesn't even acknowledge that. He's going by the ruler because he's the man in charge of treaties. He is America first, not a slogan. It's binding American law in the United States Constitution. The first 14 amendments, the Bill of Rights. Right after, into that, 1790, you have America first naturalization, and the president has a lane there. Those laws forced upon the presidency, their lane, treaties, 1787. Donald J. Trump, a good president. You want to know Donald J. Trump? All you have to do is read the Constitution. He lives it, he breathes it, as an originalist. That's the easiest way. Canadians and seemingly all of our politicians and our laggard academic institutions in Oxford-trained mindset can't seemingly pull those easy texts out from a very simple constitution that if you apply it in originalism as they're written and as the president is to operate, if they're a real president formed by the people and operate in their lane, all your answers just roll out easy. I become an instant genius, an expert on the presidency of the United States of America, at least with Donald J. Trump, because I understand America better than most Americans know it themselves. I have that same power now as Donald J. Trump has over Canada, clearly. And he's flexing it, showing it. And our daft and dumb, and I'm sorry to say that, our daft and dumb politicians from every stripe, all Oxford enshrined, privileged, not competent. And that's important to understand here. Privileged people, not competent, in places they have no business being in, dealing on matters they have no business dealing in. Donald J. Trump follows the letter of the law to a T. He lives for America first and all of Americans that he shares his mighty executive power with, and he's entrusted to absolutely enforce the law on behalf of all Americans. That's his mandate. America first and originalism. Do everything for all Americans, put them first, what's best for them in their lives. That starts with First Country Canada, who's a laggard in every single lane of the presidency. If you're the president of the United States and you truly are mandated there by the people to do your job, and Donald J. Trump swears by the Lord thy God, he is there. He swears by the Constitution of the United States. Before God, he is there for that purpose. Whether presidents have fallen that in the past or not, Donald J. Trump is. He took 4 years to absolutely learn everything he didn't know as a rookie in his first 4 years, and he's got it now. And the first country that comes up following his lane is Canada, who clearly cannot pay any of their treaty commitments. They violated every single one. And soon opening, he will get to USMCA. That's 17 months off. We're not even in trade embargoes. I've kept telling you, sanctions, then trade embargoes. We already have massive treaty violations that are open and up for grabs with the President of the United States any given day of the week. And he's already said, well, I'm taking all of those. It's my lane, my authority, vested in me by all the American people that I promised them I would put them first. And it's my power, my right over these treaties to end any which I want. And April 2nd, I will be enacting massive sweeping changes to how we deal with Canada on all of their treaties, now expired on any given day of the week the President sees fit, that they're up for interpretation any day of the week. That's April 2nd. Dummy Doug Ford and laggard Mark Carney, you low-life degenerate, ignorant dumbbells, who apparently are privileged, so you're in a position to negotiate things that you have no competency in, none whatsoever. And you've got a media that you control and pay for with more privileged and incompetent people in Canada. And we are a laughing stock in the United States of America. If Canadians think we have any kind of chance against the United States of America, this video, this truth, is here for you. You've been educated beyond anything any of your politicians understand. Whether they choose to watch this or not, it will come to pass. Reciprocity tariffs, April 2nd, are not going to stop with Doug Ford or Mark Carney or any other delegations provincially. You can't stop them because you can't honor your more than $200 billion unreciprocity treaties with the United States, where they are at 100% and you are clearly not. And to get there, you need to come up with $200 billion. Now, Donald J. Trump is a brilliant, smart man. You could even say comes with lots of common sense, conservatism. Not the propaganda from Canada's conservatives, not the lies from Pierre Poilievre, Doug Ford, Daniel Smith, and many other actors across Canada. No, not that kind of bullshit lies and propaganda. Real conservative common sense. He looks at the mathematical formula at hand. Canada's too far gone, too institutionalized, and too corrupt through their allegiances, their agreements with foreign entities all over the world, not USA, without any treaties in place, without any reciprocity from any of those countries in place, meaning Canadians are getting bled, whether you can afford to pay it or not. You can't honor anything in America. He knows that. Common sense says, if I even got the Canadian government, federally current, your federal crown, and all your provincial crowns to go ahead with this, it would destroy the Canadian people. You wouldn't even be able to run as a country. It's not economically viable or possible. But I am President Donald J. Trump. I've been mandated by the people of America to end our bleeding, to end our losing, and put America first. And to hold all of that, which is my power, without any Congress or Senate, my number one mandate, that mandate of enforcement, my one power, fists of enforcement, meaning the laws are there. The interpretation is there. Nobody can take that away from President Trump. He's got two fists called the American people, left and right. Whether he believes in all of it or not, he's got two fists called left and right, Democrat, Republican. They're all American. And he has a job to do. And he looks at Canada and he goes, April 2nd, I'm going to start left, right, after left, right, over the course of 17 months, through sanctions and trade embargoes, before we even get to USMCA. You're in that much requited, unrepentant, lax reciprocity of agreements you're supposedly bound to, that you don't reciprocate. I have to beat that out of you. Or, which I know you can't pay, and your crown would have to beat the living hell out of all of you, which I don't support your crown, and my American people don't give me a mandate to support that kind of government structure, that corrupt system, that autocracy. It's anti-American. In fact, I should just cancel all those treaties. Right now, today, end it all and destroy you as a country, because you will be economically destroyed. I already told you, I'll destroy this country economically. Your crown's terrified of it. They will do anything provincially and federally to hold on to their power and keep you all in the chains that they have you in, to keep their masters happy overseas and continue the lying, cheating, thieving, and unaccountability of it. No criminal accountability, no financial accountability. It's a free-for-all. Donald J. Trump wants to end it. So you have a choice. He looks at it. I can beat you to death economically, not even militarily. I can beat you to death where you won't have an economy, you won't have a functioning country. Or you can take the conservative, common sense approach. My more than reasonable offer, Canada, the 51st state. You will get all of your sovereignty. You will get economic boom like you've never seen before. I will end all that evil that your politicians are spilling out onto the world. I will take that which you cannot possibly, as just your little country and your small population in such a big landmass, do as you are. I will take that expense onto all of America in 51 states. They will share it evenly. That's why our military is so powerful at such a low cost. You could never replicate it, no matter what treaties we sign with you. But we can do it as a union. We take you as you are in the union. You get your powers, us, the federal, get ours, which is to protect you, to navigate you, to provide you access to the markets, and take away your hate of each other. That means destroying the provinces. That means a district system. Many, in fact, complicated overlapping district systems, providing you super checks and balances so that no one's stealing and robbing you blind anymore. It's not a perfect system, but it proves at the state level tremendously more successful than anything ever about Canada, even with all their tremendous resources. You guys can't even get along enough to see that through from one end to another. And even when your crown lies to you and says, oh, we're going to get all these things built, Canada's ready for it, you're united, you can't even come up with a standard trade practice for all the provinces. It's not possible. Not in your evil political structure. Your thieves make it that way, that they're always stealing from somebody, creating the division and anger. It's an old world system that doesn't work. You will never achieve it. You will die before you achieve it. It's that broken. That's why it's 51st state. It's the only common sense conservative move to make. It's game over. America's not going to compromise any of this. They're telling you there's too many treaties in place that Canada can't even fund, even if they wanted to. The beating that the people of Canada would have to take. You would have no health care. You would have no real policing. You would have nothing of any services that are all easily found in the States, no matter how really low GDP generating a state particularly is. Void of resources. They're still doing better than you are, Canada as a whole, by a large margin. Why is that? It's because of the way their structure and system works. It's just that efficient, and they work together and they love each other. It's love or your hate, not Donald J. Trump's hate, not America's hate. It's a truth that you're going to have to find out. A truth that your incompetent, corrupted, privileged, ignorant politicians may never understand. They only see their superiority. They even in their minds today believe that they've got Trump on the ropes, or that all he wants is a better USMCA. Does USMCA account for more than $200 billion a year? The answer is no. Well, trade is large. It's all percentile, folks. It's revenues and taxation off that at the end. It doesn't generate that kind of money. The kind of money we're talking about is out of your federal funding and overlapping provincial funding that doesn't match the United States system. You'll have to pay all of that forward, which means you can reduce your health care by 33%. You can reduce your education by 33%. You can reduce transportation 33%. Do you understand what I'm getting at here? Your country goes into super decline. Your GDP starts falling off anyway. It's not economically viable. If you think Donald J. Trump isn't a brilliant businessman and doesn't understand these things, these concepts, you'd be sadly mistaken. Come on. He's worth billions of dollars. He didn't get there by accident. He didn't make all his comebacks by accident. There's a level of heightened knowledge, skill, and experience there. He knows. And like a corporation, he can't look at these countries and go, this country is bringing us down. This country needs to be seriously changed. Where does it fit? Well, it fits as it is and is more successful as a 51st state. And it heightens the union, makes us all stronger, increases its GDP, and it strengthens its services and all the federal services to boot. There's no real downside here. The only downside is for the crown, the politicians, the liars, cheats, and thieves, and world powers out on the stage, full-on dictatorships, unitary, centralized socialist states. They're going to fall. Sure, they're going to go down. America and Canada, the state, go way up, way up. The kind of wealth that Canadians always have deserved for all that your ancestors put into this country and all those that come here to work and generate, you should have, but you don't. But you will have as a 51st state. What you won't have as a path forward in all of these breaches, in all of these treaty breaches, America won't stand for it anymore. And the president, who, it's true, cannot create treaties, like he can come up with them, he can organize them, he can get all, he has to pass that in a massive majority in the United States. Sure, he has to do that. He has to have a supermajority Senate. But what he doesn't have to have at all, nil in fact, is to abolish treaties and agreements. He can unilaterally and independently do that as the people's enforcement, people's executive authority. And it's America first, not Canada first, or Canada before the 50 states. That's called unconstitutional and is impeachable as a president, realistically. And American citizens have a system to go after a president. And Donald J. Trump is the first president who's living it, walking the walk, talking the talk. And there's no negotiating for Doug Ford or Mark Carney or any conservative after, if there is an election, a Pierre Poilievre and whoever he picks to be on his little team. There's no getting out of all of these facts. Your total revenues, Canada, $595 billion. Can you imagine taking 200 out of that, reducing you to 300? You're done. You're game over, as you know it. You're third world. And then you watch your economy go like this. It's, as Justin Trudeau knows, it's the end of Canada. That's what we're facing. Please share. It's credible, real, verifiable. In the link of this title, I go through a truth for Ford. I give education as it really is, as it absolutely is in the United States of America, in relation to the President of the United States, and that position that is constituted has definitions. Unlike Prime Minister of Canada or Premier of Canada, there's no legal definition or list of mandates on those titles. None whatsoever in the Constitution. You have to go to earlier texts because it's crown. It's autocratic. It's not a democratic position. Sure, you use a process to democratically elect these people without any definition, meaning the sky is the limit. There are no democratic checks and balances, or in fact any real checks and balances for premier or prime minister. None whatsoever, especially in majority. You might as well say you're ruled by a military dictator anytime they want to be. They get to be anything, do anything, anytime they want. Democracy or not democracy, go around or dismiss, command anything they want. There's nothing anyone can do about it. The idea that Parliament and prime ministers or legislatures are beholden to premiers is a lie. Is an absolute lie. Now, there's an official Majesty's opposition federally and again at every provincial or territorial level, but that's your only check and balance. And again, they're crowned too, and they're privileged on that crown autocracy, paid handsomely, provided for a millionaire's lifestyle and mansion living. They're never going to upset the balance. Why would they? It's designed that way, to run purely autocratic with an illusion of democracy. You get 4 years, your only check and balance is to hopefully vote for them. But then wait a minute, 4 years isn't a guarantee either. All we've watched in recent elections is premier after premier, prime minister after prime minister, call elections on any given Sunday, whenever they feel like it. That means you don't have scheduled elections. That's number one check on the democracy box. Oops, lost that one. Oh, what about term limits? Oops, lost that one too. There is no definition, no mandate on those positions. It's forever and anything they want. Anything they want. That's my video. Get it shared. Massive education, massive truth. But don't take my word for it. April 2nd will come and go. You'll see Doug blowing all your money. Maybe other premiers will be there too. And they'll put on a good show for all of you foolish Canadians institutionalized into it. But the truth will come whether you like it or not. It's just how far are you going to let them tear you down? You the people. You the subjects of thy's Lord and masters. How far will you let them? How far in the boxcars with the shaved heads, smelling the smoke of rotten flesh, will you go? Will you be like that as it was in history? Will you be one of those too? It's really looking like it for Canadians in a massive majority. And us, the 10%, we have to be diligent, stick together, stay on the task, and that's what I'm going to do. You're going to see me shortly, soon enough, in D.C. I'm going to give her all I can do. Because it's not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. That is truth in America. Donald J. Trump is living proof of that truth. God bless everybody. Share. Get it out there. Bye now.